Tuesday morning about 9 o'clock-ish. This show is brought to you by Billy Napier. Billy Napier, the current head coach of the University of Florida. Graham, what's going on?
The great head coach of the University of Florida.
Hope.
Dylan's jacket says it totally unironically.
No, I just woke up and said, I like this hoodie. It's my favorite hoodie. It's my most comfortable hoodie. I'm wearing this today.
Yeah.
As I have on only during losses.
You only wear it during losses?
Yeah, because it's more funny. Only at the station.
So what do you wear during wins? Just Baldwin stuff?
Yeah, Baldwin, Jags, usually whatever is the top shirt in my drawer.
Do you wear Jags gear?
I got a Jags hoodie that's about 10 years old. All the letters are kind of peeling.
Yeah, and you'll have it for another 15 years.
Yeah,
probably.
why not? Until the dryer heats up too bad one day and just starts getting holy. Graham, it's kind of surprising to me. Obviously, fans aren't happy, and they're all talking about the play calling and all and everything like that. Unless it's just me, I haven't seen many people talk about why they didn't go for two.
I've seen a few.
A few? Like, I feel like that would be the number one thing. Like, out of the whole game, and maybe it's just me. Like, I felt like in that fourth quarter that Tennessee had all the momentum, especially when Lagway went in and after Merz got hurt, that Tennessee was the better team. And the defense had some stops in the fourth quarter. But when that game started in overtime, I did not have any faith that they were going to win the game. And I know that DK scored that touchdown, but that was really, it was one play. It wasn't like Florida was moving the ball down the field and then Tennessee just stopped them. I mean, you had good field position twice from DK on those two punt returns. I am surprised that more people weren't saying to go for on the 2-point conversion to win the game.
You know why I think that's the case? Because I think the collective fan base understands that there was no shot they were getting it.
But
I mean, you know this coach,
right,
don't you?
I know this, but
you know this coach. He was going to call something dumb, and it wasn't going to work.
Okay, but I would rather take the dumb play call and something might happen with your quarterback. He might break a tackle, and you might get it as compared to extending the game, going into overtime where your offense was doing no good in the red zone the whole game.
But see, your offense was doing no good. So what makes you think they're going to get the two?
Because I would rather take my chance on one play as compared to going 25 yards down the field.
Yeah, I get it. You have a point, and, it's typically the mantra is on the road.
And you had 29 seconds left. It wasn't, if you had 3 minutes left, different story. There was 29 seconds left.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. If I had more faith that they actually would have gotten the two, then I'd be closer to the level of upset about it that you are, but they would have called something stupid and it wouldn't have worked.
Now, on the level of stupidity, they would have called a flea flicker reverse that would have hopefully hit the tight end.
Yeah.
What kind of stupidity would you expect on a play like this?
A flea flicker reverse is close. Maybe another jet sweep.
Yeah. What about a speed option? Weak side, trips to the right, speed option left side, when you know you don't have the numbers to go to the speed option side.
That's the one.
Yeah, I'll take that.
The numbers or the room.
Yeah.
Because you're going to run on the short side. 100%.
Yes.
Yep. No, that's the one. That's what they would have won.
So that's what they would have done. You've heard it here first.
Yeah, but I mean, seriously, any tweet that I saw about going for two, all the replies were like they wouldn't have gotten it. So I think that answers your question though of why there wasn't as much outrage, because no one has faith that this buffoon would have called a good play to get in.
And I don't think they would have got it either, but I'd take my chances. I mean, you say on this play you're going to win or lose. Pross brought this up, and adding to this, they had Chris Doring on the drill, Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser, this morning, and he brought up a good point. Like, if you were to get that 2-point conversion and you win the game, dude, that propels your team to something that could be so much bigger going and gives you so much confidence moving forward, especially with a freshman quarterback that you know is going to be your guy for the rest of the season. I'm sure most people know by now, Graham Merz done for the year, torn ACL. He's not coming back. Sucks for him. We'll get to him in a moment. But that win could just propel you to giving you so much confidence. And maybe you don't beat the good teams, obviously not against Texas and Georgia and some of them down the road. But you have a lot more confidence when you play Kentucky this Saturday. You have a lot more confidence when you're playing a team like an LSU or an Ole Miss. And now, and we're just playing just so conservative. It's just frustrating, man.
It's frustrating. I get it, but and we're in the here and now. It's still just the Tuesday off of the Saturday game. Here's my thing, Dylan. I think that I was making sure our battery's still working. I think that I was pissed during the game. We did the post game together. I was pissed after the game. Because that's just that's how I watch football games. I'm an emotional watcher. You and I could not watch football games more differently.
No, this is how I watch games. I go, dang, that didn't work. That's it. I wouldn't have done that.
The way I watch games is, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, I can't do
like
that.
Probably a lot of you guys do.
I'm more like a judge and he's a jury.
But I got, yeah, exactly. That's a good way to put it. I got to watch my ultra successful NFL team play on Sunday.
Yeah, they suck too.
And, my anger kind of transferred over to them. By the time I woke up, I think yesterday morning, Dylan.
Quick turnaround too, by the way.
Yeah, by the time I woke up yesterday morning, Dylan, I think I got to the point where I was like, you know what? Because I was feeling the same things you were just saying. I was feeling, look, they end up pulling that game out. They get the 2. Or if they miraculously had somehow won in overtime, they would have had to get a turnover, I think, to win in overtime. Something like that miraculously happens, whatever. Like, yeah, you have all this momentum. Yeah, you feel much better. You feel better about these other games, like you're saying, other than Georgia and Texas. But the way I was able to get over it quicker than I thought I was going to get over it is Billy Napier would have done. There would have been a game where he would have done the same thing. If they had a huge win against Kentucky, do you have any faith? Or sorry, if they had a big win against Tennessee,
they would have let down against Kentucky.
And they would have looked terrible at home, and we would have been right back where we started.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, and then
more than likely,
and then they would have gotten killed against Georgia, gotten killed against Texas. And people are probably going to comment on this. So Georgia's beatable this year. Okay, they're beatable to good teams. This is not a good team. Okay, so that's the first thing. And then say they did win these games that weren't other than just Georgia and Texas. Say they did win Tennessee and Kentucky, and you're really starting to feel better. Do you not believe there was more buffoonery down the road against Ole Miss and LSU? Of course there was. Of course. This coach is going to set them up to fail, so they're going to fail at some point. That's where I've arrived, Dylan.
So 10 games since Napier's been the head coach at Florida. In those 10 games that have been one-score games, what's his record, if you had to guess?
Sorry, it's early. 10 games that have been one-score games.
Yeah, what's his record been since he's been the head coach at Florida?
10 one-score games. God, he hasn't won a lot. He won the South Carolina game. That was one score. I'm going to say he's won 3 of those.
He's won 4.
He's won 4, okay.
And that doesn't include like the Florida State game where it was 9 points. Point being, so I was trying to look up how what his record is against one-score games because close games, like bad coaching really shows when you're getting close games. You get situational football, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
So I was looking up Zach Alberverdi. That's how you say his name, right?
Yes.
I believe he's still with On3. This article is from On3. 2 years ago, after Florida just beat Utah at home, talking about how good Billy Napier was because of how good he was in one-score games. Who was 17-3 if you include the Utah game and his tenure at Louisiana. And I like this. Montrell Johnson attributes Napier's 12-game winning streak to his aggressiveness. Quote, what he does well in close games is he's really aggressive. Where's that aggressiveness, bruh? I don't know how coaches and I know it's lower level. It's not the same when you get bigger, but you are what you are. And the reason when you go to a bigger school, we expect to see what you were at that program. And, he come with the mantra that scared money don't make money. And we haven't seen anything close to it, man. Nowhere near it. I mean, you're up Florida State. You're up 12-0. You have the ball in FSU territory in the first half, and you lose the game. The Missouri game last year, it's a 4th and 15. They convert, you lose the game. Vandy, you lose 2 years ago with a top 5 quarterback that went in the draft. Osiris Torrance is a starting guard for one of the best NFL teams.
And they had a
first-round receiver.
In the Vandy game, they had a last-second, like it was not a Hail Mary. It was like a 30-yard throw attempt to try to get in the end zone, and Anthony Richardson threw it to the fifth bar on
through
Broadway.
The scoreboard. It's just
he threw that thing to Mars,
dude,
bro.
I think he had a contest that game. He goes, let's see how far I can throw this thing. It's just so annoying, man. It's so annoying. Because you come into the year, you think, this can happen, that can happen, and then you kind of lose everything once after the A&M game. You're like, okay, this obviously isn't going to work. And I didn't have belief that, we beat A&M, or no, we beat UCF, and we beat UCF, and who was the other team? Mississippi State. I didn't put much stock into that, but it was a winnable game, and you find a way to lose these games, and it just goes to show you that this guy is he's not ready for this kind of job, man.
He's not built for this. I tweeted about it after the game. I typically, after Gator games, I tweet just some general thoughts that I have. And one of the things I said, and it was kind of my conclusion to the other things I said, Napier's just not built for this level, man. That's okay.
And
there's a place for Billy Napier in college football to be at a G5 level school and be ultra successful, because he is a good recruiter, and at that level he can dominate in recruiting and have really good rosters and run a pretty simple offense that puts his guys in a position to succeed. And I wish him all the best, and his guys play really hard for him. He's given this program what he's got, and I've got no ill feelings towards him. Whenever they do eventually fire him, because they're going to, I won't see him somewhere else. I won't see him on a different sideline on a Saturday post Gator career and feel anger. I won't be like, screw that guy. He just ain't built for this, man. The other coaches all gave me, maybe not Muschamp, but the last two gave me a little animosity towards him at the end of their tenure, right? McElwain was lying on the fan base's name, saying he got death threats and couldn't provide that as evidence, and he was saying goofy stuff anyways. And Mullen with this whole recruiting thing, and that's a whole nother can of worms. But with Napier, dude, he's giving it all he's got. He's a good dude. His players love him, but he just ain't built for this. He doesn't have the killer instinct that you have to win at this level, and that's okay, but it's just the truth.
Yeah, that magazine I read, remember right after the Miami game, an anonymous coach, I think it might have been the SEC, might not have been. He basically said he was too nice for the job, and you're kind of seeing that. To win in the SEC at a high level, you got to be cutthroat. That's just plain and simple. Graham Mertz, you kind of figured it's now official. He's torn his ACL. There are very few times where I feel really bad for a player, especially when it comes to injuries. I mean, this dude would look like he was well on his way to beating Missouri last year before he hurts his collarbone. And you probably would have won that game, and then you probably would have beaten Florida State had he been the quarterback. Comes back, recovers, and then you have the whole Miami game. The whole fan base was pretty much done with him after the Miami game. Comes back, wins back, does well, and then to see this, I mean, it's hard to describe it other than it sucks to see something like this happen to him, man.
Yeah, I owe Graham Mertz an apology from 2 years ago. We just lost power on our camera, so we're gonna have to finish this out on the podcast.
We got our main points out.
I owe Graham Mertz an apology because when Florida signed him as their we all knew that after Anthony Richardson went to the draft, they were going to get a transfer guy for a bridge between Anthony Richardson and whoever the new recruit was going to be, who's now DJ Lagway. When they got Mertz last year out of the portal, I was like furious about it. I was like, this guy was nothing but disappointment in Wisconsin. There's better options out there. I wanted like a Grayson McCall type of guy. I wanted somebody more sexy than Mertz, and I was outspokenly against the move to go get him. I couldn't have been more wrong. He's been a fantastic Gator his whole time here. Is this about a year and a half that he ended up playing for the Gators. a bright light in dark days of Gator football. Consistent, good, has done everything right. I wish nothing but Merz the best in his future, and he was really, really good as a Gator, and it sucks to see it go out this way. It's at least his last play was a touchdown pass, but
this is true.
It sucks that he has to go out this way because I really, really enjoyed watching him in a Gator uniform.
We'll go 5 more minutes here. Florida, Kentucky, kind of looking ahead. Florida, I've seen, is a 1-point favorite, so it's a pretty even game. I kind of don't know what to make of Kentucky. They played well against Georgia, but, I mean, the way the college football landscape has been, other than, like, Ohio State, Oregon, and Texas, those feel like the 3 best teams. Like, every team is beatable just because of the way college football is with the transfer portal, and you can't – it seems like teams aren't as top-heavy. So then Kentucky goes into Georgia, like, you're thinking, okay, they're probably going to roll Florida. And then they lose to Vandy, which Vandy, God bless, seems like they're a top 5 team in the SEC right now.
They'll come back down to earth.
Yeah, they will. I feel like this is an even game, and I still have faith that Florida has a decent chance to win the game. I mean, I'd say 60-40 right now.
60-40, they lose or they win?
I'd probably lean more that they win just because they're at home. I mean, there's everybody's doom and gloom right now. I'm like, this team is not that hard to beat. Now, granted, Kentucky, for whatever reason, has their best game every year against Florida, so I might take that back.
That's what I'm saying. You think they're not going to look like the 85 Bears on defense against the Gators this week? And some running back named like Poop
my
Williams
mind
you've
could
never
change.
heard of?
I mean, it's only Tuesday. My mind can change very much till Saturday.
And some running back you've never heard of is going to look like Walter Payton, and their quarterback's going to look like Pat Mahomes.
That's what I'm more worried about. I'm worried about the running back that looks like Bo Jackson.
Yeah. This is the Kentucky thing every year now.
But the thing is, I will say, Vandergriff, from the little bit I've seen, I could be wrong, doesn't look like he can take the top off the defenses.
No, he's not good, but he's going to
ball.
turn into Pat Mahomes for a game.
But we thought the same thing about Nico, and Nico wasn't being able to do that.
Tennessee players historically suck against Florida. Kentucky players the last 4 to 5 years have just become NFL players when they play Florida. Vandergriff is not a good quarterback. He's going to become Pat Mahomes in this game. I think the Gators lose. I'm not going to pick them to win probably the rest of the year until Florida State. They might win. I mean, I think it's even closer than 60-40. I think it's like 52-48. This is a toss-em game because it's in Gainesville, whatever. Napier's kind of had a tale of 2 teams. There's one. It's weird, isn't it? It feels like the Gators have 2 football teams right now. They have the team that played against Mississippi State and the team that played the first half against UCF and the team that played the first half against Tennessee, even though they left a lot of points on the board. And that is a team that gets penetration on the defensive line, stuffs the run, gets a couple sacks, knocks people off their ass, plays with fire, plays
They know
intensity.
what they're doing as compared to what it looked like beginning of the year.
And then offensively, that's a team that keeps the sticks moving, good play calls, misdirection, keeps the defense off balance, kind of keeps them guessing, kind of keeps doing a good job of going against whatever the defense is anticipating you're going to do. And then there's this other team that blows coverages, runs the same 4 plays on offense all the time. And it feels like no matter how much the first team comes out every now and again, it's always inevitable that second team is going to show up at some point.
Yes.
Doesn't it feel that way?
Yes.
It's
coming. It might not come against the Kentucky game, but it'll definitely show up in November.
It showed up in the second half in Tennessee, I think. And it showed up in the second half against UCF. It's just UCF wanted to salt away the clock for some reason. And that's what I mean, and that's why, as angry as, and look, I'm gonna watch the game on I'm gonna watch the Kentucky game Saturday and still get really emotional because that's how I watch football games. It's just me. I can't control it. But if they lose, then I'm gonna wake up probably Monday again and understand that second team I just mentioned that runs the same 4 plays and blows coverages and gets knocked off the ball at the line of scrimmage on the defensive line the fact that they always revert to that team means that that's who they are. The other team that plays well sometimes, they're just playing above their heads. Maybe they had a couple of good scripted plays in the game plan or whatever that might work every now and again, but that's not them. That's more the anomaly, and what we saw against Miami, what we saw against A&M is more really who they are. And that's who they're always going to be with Billy Napier as head coach, in my opinion, which is why he's not the guy. We know he's not the guy. We know it's over. It's a matter of if, not when at this point.
Last thing, and I got to roll. We'll go one more minute here. There was some positives Saturday night. Lane Kiffin got another loss for what that's worth. So he needs one more loss probably before he's knocked out of the playoff. And hopefully we'll have a coach. I will say this. I will not believe that he is the coach of the University of Florida until he takes the podium. Even if we get reported that he's the head coach, I'm not going to believe it.
Yeah, I agree. There's a really good chance it's leveraging Ole Miss for more money, but
Ole Miss can only give him a 4-year contract because of the way their state is for whatever reason. But that doesn't mean you can't get more money. But I mean, like, he's got the most of that program, man. I mean, Quinshon Judkins left them to go to Ohio State because he said he wanted to win a national title, and he's their best player. And everybody had high hopes for Ole Miss. You can't replace a guy like him and continue to win at a high level like that. You can win 10 games, but you're not going to beat your Alabama, your LSU, Texas. It's not going to happen.
If Lane Kiffin had the season they had last year and had Quinshon Judkins on the team last year, Quinshon Judkins would still be on the team at Florida.
Yeah, I agree. All right, we'll give y'all a show Thursday. Graham will add a graphic so everybody on the YouTube can get the show for the last 10 minutes, and we'll see y'all.